Hey everybody, welcome back to My Green Pets. This is the green room. Let's have a look inside. Alright, you ready to practice your Latin? This is Bulbophyllum rufinum, the rufous Bulbophyllum. And it is fully bloomed out. Both of its spikes have bloomed out completely. And I like it. Last year the spike was not nearly as long. It was only about 4 inches long. But this year they are full-on spikes. The flowers are actually pretty small, but they do have a fragrance altogether, and it's kind of sweet, kind of fruity. Makes me think that maybe this plant is pollinated by fruit flies in the wild. The Bulbophyllum type orchids are known for their bizarre blossoms, but these aren't too strange. This plant came as a free gift with one of my orders to Windy Hill Orchids. So if you have the opportunity to order from Windy Hill, do so, because they have a wonderful selection of Bulbophyllum as well as Paphiopedilum orchids. This is Cycnodes Wine Delight, and the first spike haven't had much luck with. No blooms on it, just some buds that have turned yellow and kind of fallen off. But this plant's not going to give up. It has actually put out a new spike, so maybe this one will bloom. Another little Catasetum type. This is my Mormodia Jumbo World, and it has dropped a lot of leaves. As you can see, they just kind of turn yellow like this, and then they just fall off. But each one of the new pseudobulbs, 1, 2, 3, has 2 little green stumps or nubbins pushing out of the bottom. So if they keep doing that, then we might have 6 spikes on this guy this year. Fingers crossed. Last year we only had 3. Look at this darling little thing. This is Brassolaelia Little Mermaid, and it is fully bloomed out. The blooms are bigger and more fragrant this year. Around, actually about 7 o'clock in the morning, they start to become very, very fragrant, and it lasts for a few hours until early afternoon. The color of the plants in the green room isn't really true to what the real color is because of this 400 watt metal halide light. And it's got a very yellowish spectrum, yellowish blue, so they kind of reflect a lot of that yellow light. So it's not, they don't look as they would in natural light, but they seem to grow very well underneath this artificial light. It's on for 12 hours a day. 12 hours on, 12 hours off, and the temperature in here seems to be quite nice for orchids, not too terribly hot, good humidity. I'd wager to say that the growing conditions in here are actually better than they were in the sunroom last year. I can just tell things are growing faster. Here you can see the developing spike of Bulbophyllum Lovely Elizabeth. It's extended its spike out quite a ways from the plant, and now it has started to open up the very tip. It's in the final stages of development, and hopefully all those little green wiry things are going to turn into big reddish pink spotted speckly beautiful flowers in the next couple weeks. Looking forward to that. And finally, hanging above everyone else is Bulbophyllum medusae. And it was sitting on the table, but I decided to hang it up because I want the spikes to grow up, out, and away from the plants, because if they all bloom pointing the same direction, it's so much nicer. It's so much prettier. And so I'm going to be kind of a control freak about it. You can see one of the developing spikes right there. I counted 14 the other day. Of course, there's no guarantee that all 14 will bloom out, but there are quite a few. And I did this last year. I tilted it towards the window, and all of the spikes pushed out in basically the same direction, so that when the thing bloomed, they were all looking the same way, and it really was a very beautiful blooming. So I'm going to go for the same effect this year, but hopefully with more flowers. Another plant to be excited about, this is Schilleriana Phalaenopsis species, and it has pushed out a little spike as well. No idea how many flowers this thing will yield, but I don't care. Just one flower will be enough. They are supposed to be pink, they're supposed to be fragrant with hints of rose, and I'm excited. Not only does this plant have beautiful foliage, but it should also have beautiful flowers. Looking forward to that. Several other of the Phalaenopsis are also pushing out spikes, and that's lovely to see. Old Faithful, you can see this one, I don't know where it's going. It's growing toward the wall. This other one over here is growing more out towards the light. We'll see where they end up going. This little guy, it looks like a Phalaenopsis, but it's actually a different species. It's a Myciella monticola, and apparently it does grow alongside Phalaenopsis in the Philippines, but the flowers are a little bit different. They are white, they have long spur on them, and apparently they're fragrant at night. So this little spike is developing a little bit more quickly than it was, but it's been growing for 2 months, and that's all we've got. So it is a kind of a slow grower, but really looking forward to this flowering too. I would have never bought this plant, but it was a project plant for one of the internet orchid forums a couple years ago, and so I decided I was going to buy one and participate. And it was not a plant for instant gratification. It's been about 2 years, but looks like we might get something exciting out of it after all. You know, spending time with my collection, you know, watering them, checking out the blooms and the spikes and new growths, it just brings me this real sense of peace and quiet and tranquility, and I want to enjoy that not only when I'm at home, but other places as well. So this week I set up a webcam, and this webcam streams live footage of the green room all day, every day. Now, the lights are only on 12 hours a day, so you can only really tune in from 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. But if you're interested, you can follow the link that I've provided and have a look. Alright, the last thing we're going to look at, we're going to go outside and have a look at the Vandas that are still out there. Even though we're almost into November, we haven't had anything even nearly resembling a frost yet, so these plants have been outside the entire time. Vanda Picharo Delight is covered in flowers. It had a total of 14 spikes this year. Some of them have faded, some of them are still opening, but it really is just a glorious sight out there. I'm still not quite sure what I'm going to do with this plant when it has to come inside. I've got a couple of ideas, but it's a monster and it needs lots of space, so hopefully I'll still have some time to figure something out. Well, it's just about time for lights out here in the green room. Thanks so much for stopping by. I hope you enjoyed your visit. Remember to check out the live video feed from the green room from 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And there go the lights. That's it for this week. I'm William Green, and we'll see you next time right here on My Green Pets.